Good morning, Legacy Cast listeners. This is James Snow, your host for Legacy Cast, and I'd like to welcome my guest Tamara Collins this morning, who's coming to us from the beautiful state of Oregon. How are you doing this morning, Tamara?
I'm doing wonderful.
Oh, great. Glad to hear that, and hopefully you're staying fairly dry this time of year out there. You know, we certainly are here in Texas.
It is unseasonably dry.
Oh,
right
goodness.
Hopefully we stay away from fires, but it's been
nice.
Nice.
I'm certainly hoping and praying that you do as well. It was kind of scary this year there in California, at least.
For sure. I'm hoping we're off the list.
Yeah, we'll certainly hope for that as well. So the content of this podcast here, you know, obviously as the name would imply, is based upon legacies, and you know, obviously that's going to be kind of different for each person. You know, each person has a different definition of that, and you know what we really like to do here is, you know, kind of dig into that a little bit and discover what does that mean for you. So if you could answer for me, Tamara, what does having a legacy mean to you?
Well, I guess if I think about having a legacy, it's after I pass, when people are at my funeral, what do they say about me? Mm-hmm. What impact have I left in the lives of the people around me? And what long-term, services have I provided for people? Have I been able to give them something that can't be taken away? Have I been able to positively move the world forward?
Yeah, and I really do like that answer because, you know, what that means, you know, to myself especially, is it is kind of our story. You know, it's, you know, how will people talk about us, you know, many years from now? It's not just, you know, obviously, since I'm a financial planner, it's not just a financial legacy, but it's what have we done? You know, have we changed lives? Have we done something that people will remember us for? So that's really an important question for people to ask. Do you feel also that that's something that's important for people to consider?
Oh, very much. I mean, if you're living just for yourself, you're not really doing it right. If you're able to create a service or give someone value or meaning or shape or change the direction that someone goes, you've done more, and you've lived for more than just yourself. And I think it's important in business and life to have a higher goal or higher purpose than just go through your day to day.
No, and I totally agree with you. And since you mentioned business, how would you say that someone should correlate that into their business? How do you do that?
I think that when you're starting out and with your business, it all starts at your mission and your vision statements. Mm-hmm. So early on in business, when you're creating your mission statement, you're creating your business plan, you should have some of those higher goals and aspirations written down. Something aside from, I'm going to make $100,000 a year, but right. You know, I'm going to contribute to my local community by giving X amount. I'm going to help people's businesses by providing them with superior service, by enabling them to keep their businesses open for longer, by producing whatever your particular service entails. You want to find some way that it'll enrich the lives of others. Like they talk about having a powerful why. Sure. That's those legacy statements.
Oh, and I absolutely agree with you 100%. And if you were to think about your business and the future of your business, kind of from a CEO standpoint, what would you say that the three things are that would keep you awake at night the most?
I think for me, it's being remembered. I want to make sure with my business, because in marketing, it's my job to make sure other people stand out. And so when I think about other people's businesses, people will remember me if I can make their business successful. If I can give them a lifelong career in their business, that enables me to promote my legacy. Oh, you know, I worked with Tamara and we did X and Y together, and that was really the turning point in my business. That's how my legacy looks. And so when I think about it and keeping me up at night, it's, am I doing enough for the people that I work with to make sure that I am that pivotal person and that I'm creating impact?
Sure.
And then I also look at things in my community and groups that I'm a part of, both locally and digitally. Am I doing enough to help other people or standing for things that aren't just business related.
Sure. So with that being said, do you believe it's important that people create some sort of a strategy for themselves and their business?
Oh, 100%. And I think it's more of an issue online than it is in person, that a lot of people don't create their business plans, their marketing plans, or really have that solid foundation in front of them, because it is easier to create an online business and say, okay, I'm going to sell X and Y and kind of launch with it. But when you have that mapped out plan for your business, your finances, your marketing, it enables you to kind of follow a stepped system.
Sure.
And so you're far more likely to be successful than if you're just kind of going with it.
No, that's very true. In fact, when you're mentioning the business plan and the financial planning and so forth, I've actually seen that about 40% of these small businesses are going to end up having to liquidate because they've not done it. And
Correct.
so that puts the odds really stacked up against you if you're not taking care of those things the way that you should do. Even though it may cost a little bit of money and take a little bit of time to put together, it's well worth it, in my opinion.
Well, 100%. And I mean, even with a business plan, it may seem overwhelming, but you can find templates online. You can find, YouTube videos to help coach you through it. You should always have some type of guide or mentor, but if you really just don't have it, there's plenty of resources. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it and lay it out from the beginning.
Sure. And so what do you think the most common area is that entrepreneurs fail or just simply give up?
I think a lot of it has to do with that, the planning stage, or you have this great idea and you think, man, I'm just going to take off like gangbusters. And they fail to think about the consistency and how long it takes to get traction in a business. When you first start in your business, it takes a while of frequency, of talking to people, of promoting, of kind of broadcasting that you exist and the service that you offer before it really starts to become a routine and before people kind of catch on about what you're doing. And I think people just give up too quickly. They don't plan for that slow in the beginning.
That's true. And what I typically will coach people on is, if you're not able to, for example, when you're looking at just say the money side of it, if you're not able to have maybe the first 3 to 5 years already pre-planned, whether that's sitting in your bank or you have investors that are providing that, if you don't have 3 to 5 years worth of that resource already pre-prepared, then you're pretty much setting yourself up for a failure there, because first 3 to 5 years it's uphill. And a lot of people think, well, I'm going to be able to quit my 9-to-5 job and not work as many hours and start a business. And that's absolutely not the truth, because you're going from 40 hours a week to probably 70 or 80 hours a week just to start a business.
Right.
And granted, as time goes on and you start to really get that ball rolling, you're able to dial back a lot. But at that point, you're able to also delegate. And that's part of that equation is, making sure that you can, while you're making the money, put in the hours that it's going to take to do it.
Right. Well, and I mean, you're really smart to be telling them 3 to 5 years, because a lot of people, when I'm first doing our initial new client interview, by the time we hit the 3-month mark, they're thinking, why am I not making sales? Why am I not doing, why am I not doing better than I am?
Sure.
And you're still just a brand new little baby in your business. Like, you haven't created near enough at this moment.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to get discouraged.
Sure. And even just from the networking standpoint, when you're networking with people, it's going to take probably 6 months before they realize, okay, you're not going anywhere. You might actually be here for a little while. Now I'm going to invest time in you. And so if just from a networking standpoint, it takes that long, then look how long it's going to take before somebody really wants to see that, okay, I want to do business with you and I want to invest my money into you.
That's 100%.
So what would you say maybe some roadblocks would be that you would advise a new entrepreneur to watch out for?
Again, I really think mapping out that strategy, like you said, is a huge stumble for people. I think that people fail to think about how many aspects of, say, in mine, it's always marketing. And so I look at everything through kind of a marketing lens.
Right.
People don't do enough outside networking. If you expect to get everything through Facebook, you're missing out and you're not going to touch enough people.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is a vehicle for relationship building. The same as if you go to, say, a chamber of commerce,
Sure.
and you do their greeters meeting once a week. You have to get to know those people. You have to step out and actually talk to them. So I think communication is a huge roadblock for people.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing how to effectively communicate without just saying, hi, I'm Tamara, I want to sell you something, but how to actually provide value without looking for a sale immediately in return.
Sure.
I think another roadblock for people is also in that sales call and that kind of confrontation is, how do you ask for the sale without giving everything away?
Mm-hmm.
I think early on, a lot of us are so eager to be seen and to work with people, and we doubt the value of the products and services that we offer, so we're willing to give them away, which doesn't help to boost your business or provide value to the other person because they're getting it for free.
Right. No, I totally agree with you on that. And so what kind of support and resources do you think a budding entrepreneur should look for that will better position themselves in business?
I definitely 100% think you need to find a mentor of some variety.
Okay.
Someone who has done what you're doing or is successfully where you would like to be,
Mm-hmm.
at least a couple steps above the ladder. So if you want to be a digital entrepreneur, you need to find someone that's doing that, that's making, more than their 9-to-5 wage through online sales.
Mm-hmm.
And find someone that's willing to help you figure out how. Tony Robbins, his big thing is success is copyable. You find someone who's successful, you do the same thing. That's a great concept because it gives you a blueprint for what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. With the advent of YouTube and Audible and all these great tools, you can find almost every resource you need to learn and teach yourself online a lot of these basic business concepts. And I definitely recommend having that foundational structure with how does business work? What are the 7 building blocks to owning a business? How does a business function? Because it's not enough just to have a great idea. You have to know how to execute on your ideas.
Sure. And I like the way that you put that. So as far as ideas, we've seen a lot of things, especially news media today, that different business people are starting to inject their personal values, whether that be just a personal or even religious values into their business. How would you say that someone should incorporate that into their business, or should they?
I've always been a huge proponent of keep business and home separate. Mm-hmm. But with the advent of social media and the popularity of social media, it's really just kind of impossible at this moment mm-hmm. to do that. Because if you think about it, you see my post and I'm promoting my business service. I say I'm offering this quick resource guide for whatnot. Mm-hmm. Well, with Facebook, it's okay, well, that sounds interesting. I'm going to click on Tamara's profile to see if I'm interested. That's going to take them to my personal page. They're going to see what I do, what I think, what I post, who my family is. Right. It's hard to now keep those things separate and to keep that public and private life. Mm-hmm. And so I think whether you want to or not, you're forced to at least have some level of visibility. And it's a way for you to let your values show to everyone else, because you're consistently telling people, this is who I am, this is how I feel, and this is how I live my life. And so I think that when you're able to incorporate those things all the time, you just have to make sure that you are very true to yourself. And right. Online, they say, you attract your tribe or the common find your tribe kind of thing.
Right.
And I think that a reason that's so important right now, and so many people are focused on it, is who you are as a person is on Front Street all the time. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to attract the people that want to work with you because they're similar to you.
Right.
I'm